What if America's story did not begin with freedom, but with a land the world was taught to call new? Before the flag, before independence, before the dream, there were already people, languages, memories, and a question history still cannot escape. Welcome to English Mindwave. Before we begin, please subscribe to English Mindwave to support the channel and help bring more meaningful stories like this to life. Now let us go back before America had a name, before its flag, before its presidents, and before its famous words about liberty. Long before the United States appeared on any map, there was a vast and beautiful land. There were cold mountains in the north, warm beaches in the south, wide rivers, tall forests, green valleys, deserts, and open plains that seemed to stretch forever. And this land was not empty. It was full of life. It was full of people. Across this wide continent lived many indigenous peoples: the Cherokee, the Sioux, the Iroquois, the Navajo, and many others. They had their own languages, stories, laws, ceremonies, memories, and ways of understanding the earth. To them, land was not just property. It was not merely something to own, sell, or draw on a map. Land was home. Land was food. Land was memory. It carried ancestors, children, and the meaning of life itself. That is where a thoughtful guide must pause, because the place where a story begins can change the meaning of the entire story. If this story begins with European ships, it may sound like discovery. But if it begins with the people already living there, it becomes something deeper. A story of meeting, misunderstanding, ambition, power, and change. So before the dream of America, there was another world already breathing. While that land was living with its own ancient rhythm, far across the Atlantic, Europe was beginning to change. In the late 1400s, European kingdoms were restless. Ships were stronger. Maps were improving. Merchants wanted spices, silk, gold, and new trade routes. But beneath all of that curiosity was something deeper: power. A thoughtful guide notices that in history, trade is rarely just trade. Trade brings money. Money builds armies. Armies protect kingdoms. And kingdoms with more wealth often reach farther than before. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed west from Spain. He believed he could reach Asia by crossing the Atlantic Ocean. It was a bold idea, but it was also a mistake. He did not reach Asia. He landed on islands near a continent Europeans had not understood in that way before. Because he thought he was near India, he called the people he met Indians. The name was wrong, but the consequences were enormous. His journey opened a door that history could not close. After Columbus, more Europeans crossed the ocean. Spanish explorers moved through the south. French explorers moved through the north. England watched, learned and slowly became determined to build something lasting. To many Europeans, this land looked like opportunity, resources, wealth, influence, and a chance to compete with other powerful nations. But to the people already living there, this was not a new world. It was home. And they were not asked whether they wanted this new age to begin. One side called it exploration. Another side lived through it as disruption. The ocean had become a bridge, but not an unequal one, and across that bridge moved people, goods, money, disease, weapons, ideas, and suffering. And soon, England would cross that ocean with a plan not only to explore, but to stay. In 1607, a group of English settlers arrived at Jamestown, in what is now Virginia. They came with hope, but hope alone could not feed them. Many were ordinary men, not kings or heroes. Some wanted gold. Some wanted land. Some wanted a second chance at life. But the land did not become easy just because they dreamed about it. The air felt unfamiliar. The seasons were confusing. Food was scarce. Disease moved through the settlement like an unseen enemy. In the first year, more than half of them died. Jamestown was not born from comfort. It was born from fear, weakness, and the desperate human desire to survive. Some settlers lived because Native Americans helped them, and they shared knowledge of plants, food, and survival in a place the English barely understood. Without that help, Jamestown might have disappeared before it became history. And yet, here the story becomes more complicated. The same people who received help from indigenous communities continued over time to take more land. This is one of the deep tensions at the heart of America's beginning: survival on one side, loss on the other. More ships came. More settlers arrived. Towns grew along the eastern coast. Farms, churches, schools, and local governments slowly appeared. By the early 1700s, 13 colonies stood under English rule. A colony is a place controlled by a country far away. But distance changes people. The colonists lived across the ocean, faced their own dangers, built their own communities, and slowly began to feel different from the people who ruled them. Some came freely for work, land, or religion. Others came in chains. Enslaved Africans were forced into a brutal system that brought wealth to some and suffering to many. This is one of the darkest parts of American history, and honest history cannot skip it. Slavery caused enormous suffering and left wounds that lasted for centuries. So a new identity was growing. But it was growing inside a wounded world. As the colonies grew, so did a question that could no longer be pushed away. Who had the right to make decisions for them? By the 1760s, the relationship between the colonies and England had begun to crack. England had spent a great deal of money fighting wars, and the British government believed the colonies should help pay for them. So, taxes were placed on everyday things: paper, glass, paint, and most famously, tea. But the anger was never only about money. It was about voice. The colonists had no representatives in the British Parliament, where these decisions were made. They had no vote in the room where their lives were being discussed. They were expected to obey, to pay, and to accept decisions made across an ocean. So one phrase moved from town to town until it became the sound of resistance. No taxation without representation. Turned in simple words, it meant this: a government should not take from people while refusing to hear them. That idea was dangerous because it questioned the moral right of power itself. When does a government become unfair? When does obedience become surrender? When does loyalty turn into resistance? In 1773, anger became action. In Boston, colonists boarded British ships at night and threw chests of tea into the dark harbor. This moment became known as the Boston Tea Party. It was not just about tea. It was a message sent across the ocean in cold water. The colonies were no longer only protesting. They were warning England that control without consent could not last forever. But England did not step back. It tightened its grip. And when power answers anger with more pressure, history often moves toward conflict. In 1775, fighting began between British redcoats and American colonists, and the first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord in Massachusetts. At that moment, the argument changed. It was no longer only about taxes. It was becoming a question of independence. Once the idea of independence entered the air, the colonies needed more than anger. They needed words strong enough to become a nation. In 1776, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. He was a gifted writer and thinker, but also a deeply complicated man, shaped by both high ideals and the painful contradictions of his time. In that document, he wrote that all men are created equal, and that people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words were beautiful. They were brave, but they were also unfinished. A thoughtful guide listens to them with both admiration and honesty. Because while the new nation spoke of freedom, many people were still not free. Slavery remained. Indigenous loss continued. Women did not have equal political rights. The ideal was real, but it had not yet reached everyone. On July 4th, 1776, the 13 colonies declared independence and called themselves the United States of America. But a declaration was only ink on paper unless people were willing to defend it. George Washington became the leader who held the army together. He was not perfect. He lost battles. He made mistakes. But in the freezing winter at Valley Forge, when soldiers had little food, torn clothing, sickness, and sometimes no shoes in the snow, he stayed with them. His strength was not just victory, it was endurance. With help from France, the balance slowly changed. In 1781, British forces were defeated at Yorktown, Virginia. The war was effectively over. A young, uncertain country had defeated a great empire, but then came the harder task: building a government. In 1787, leaders met in Philadelphia to create the Constitution. They wanted freedom, but they also feared too much power in one person's hands. So they created 3 branches of government, hoping each branch would limit the others. In 1789, Washington became the first president. Later, by stepping down peacefully, he gave the new nation something rare, a model of power that could be given back. And so, America began not as a perfect country, but as an unfinished promise, a story of courage and contradiction, a story that still asks every generation what freedom should truly mean. The beginning of the United States was never simple. It was not only the story of brave settlers, powerful words, and a young nation rising from struggle. It was also the story of people who were already there, of land that was already loved, and of freedom spoken before freedom was fully shared. That is why this history still matters. It reminds us that every nation, every dream, and every human life can carry both beauty and contradiction. The United States began with a powerful idea that people should have a voice, that power should have limits, and that freedom should belong to human beings. But beautiful words are not enough. A promise must be tested by action. A country, like a person, becomes better only when it is honest about its past and brave enough to improve its future. And maybe that is the lesson for us today. We may believe in kindness, but still need to practice it. We may dream of change, but still need the courage to begin. We may want a better future, but still need to face the truth about where we come from. History teaches us that progress is not perfect. It is built step by step by people who choose to learn, reflect, and keep going. And for every listener learning English through this story, this journey has another meaning too. Each sentence is not only a way to learn words, it is a way to understand people, power, choices, and the world we live in. What part of America's beginning surprised you the most? Please share your answer in the comments so everyone can learn from different points of view. And if this story helped you practice English and understand history more deeply, please subscribe to English Mindwave to support the channel and give us more motivation to create meaningful stories like this in the future. Until the next story, keep listening, keep learning, and keep going.